Good morning. Uh, in the last lecture we have our client server computing introduction. In this, we will go for the different types of client server computing. First of all, let's have a little bit of revision what we have studied in last lecture. What is the purpose of client server computing? Okay, the purpose of client server computing is to given platform from which we are able to share the information in the global economy, you know, with proper security arrangements as well, and achieve our business goals what we decide for. For this, client server architectures works a very important role play, where the workstations are termed as a client and server. In the client server, the major job is to to provide a presentation service, database services, connectivity, along with an interface for user interaction to acquire business needs. In a server, we are more multi-user processors. We have in the server we have a multi-user processor. It's also a workstation, but it's a very high capacity, in terms of the processing, storing, and all. So in the server, we used to get a high capacity of shared memory, which provides the connectivity and the database service, along with interface relevant to the business procedures. Client server computing provides an environment that enhances business procedure by appropriately synchronizing the application processing between the client and the server. Now let's move ahead. Client-based server architecture. The protocol what really the client server architecture and how it is processed. The client server architecture protocol relies on basis of request serving, request for service by clients and respond by processed result by the server. The communication between the two aspects is gained through inter-process communication, which facilitates the distributed placement of the client and server procedures. The client server model is basically platform independent and blends with the cooperating processes of peer-to-peer model. The platform provides the opportunity for users to access the business functionality, thereby exposing the risky situation, since it's transparent to the underlying technology as well as to the user. Now, we have also studied what are the characteristics of the clients and servers. Characteristics we basically understand as it is basically we understand as a service. The client service is basically a relationship between processes running on the distributed devices and server processes, and considered as the suppliers of service, where the client process is a consumer of the service. And what is really this is really the service of the client server architecture, client server computing, or client server model characteristic. The service in the service, what it really do, it helps help us to run on the distributed devices, help to process the different server processes, help us to supply the services, while the client process is a consumer of the services. Now let's move ahead. What is the resource? Server is eligible of handling clients simultaneously, controlling the service access of the resources. A server is eligible of handling clients simultaneously, controlling the access of the resources. What is the asymmetrical protocol? Client-based server is considered as the many-to-one relationship, because many clients are asking a question to a single server. That's why it's a many-to-one relationship. Asymmetrical protocol, which is initiated by clients to request a web while the server passively awaits. Next is property of the client server is transparency of location. Therefore, program can both be a client-based server or both. Intercommunication by messages. Interaction between client and server is obtained through message passing mechanism, mainly to deliver service, request, and response. Next important characteristic is encapsulation of services. A server is specialized in satisfying client requests coherently and can be upgraded without affecting its external environment. Client shared resources. As long as the message broadcasting interface remains the same. Next is scalability. Client server system can be scaled horizontally or vertically. In the horizontal section, we add more client workstations, and the vertical section, migration of efficient servers are taken care of. So dividing the workload over the various servers is considered as the vertical scaling. So horizontal scaling, we have client extensions, and in the vertical scaling, so we have horizontal scaling interactions. In the vertical scalings, we have server extensions. Next is integrity. Since the server code and server data is managed centrally, maintenance cost is less, and result is shared and data consistency and dependability of the clients. Next, what is the advantages? Advantages of the client and server computing is very much, it is very cost-effective technology, and it provides a cost-effective user interface, enhanced data storage, fast connectivity, and reliable application services. Next important thing is it also improves the data sharing. It also helps us to improve the data sharing from our server so data stored in the database is extracted with the help of the server side technology, and it is pushed to the client according to the demand and need of the client. Client server computing also help us to in the interaction with the services, also help in the interaction of the services. Desktop tools like spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentation can also be used to deal with the corporate data. It's also help us to understand the shared resources among the different platforms. Application used for the client server model is built regardless of the hardware platform or technical knowledge of the entitled software. Because we need to create an architecture of client server platform and client server model. Then different technologies will be put according to the need. And that is what a main benefit of this, main efficiency what we get on this. So to obtain different services, client can go to the server, and server has database applications, communication servers, okay, like this. Interoperation of data. With the help of this, we can go for the interoperation of data. And the backend services can be taken care by the database servers through SQL and distinct standards, data definition. And with the help of this, we can enhance the product efficiency, because corporate data is introduced at the various platforms of the database, and with the help of the software technology, we try to merge, and produce a single site view, single screen view to the user. Data processing capability despite the location. Machine centered like mainframe, mini micro applications have a unique access platform functionalities, keys, navigation options, performance and security. But in the client server, users can directly log into the system despite the location or technology. So this is the difference between the mainframe systems or main and the client server model. Client server model is easy to maintain because it is very much distributed, so processing part can be taken care by the different server by adding into the system, and then we can maintain the existing server, and finally we are able to replace, repair, upgrade, and relocate the server. Okay. Next, move ahead. It is always very easy maintenance. Next, the part is security. With the help of client server model, we get a very good security aspects to our services. We get very good aspects to our security services, aspect to our server, aspect to our to our services. From we are able to give an authorization services, so what is available. We can verify and validate the client uh, client working through logbook of the server. So security concern is taken care in this model. Next, there is always some pros and cons to the system, and there is also always some, there is some disadvantages as well. So what are disadvantages compared to peer-to-peer network? Disadvantages are overloaded servers. When there are frequent simultaneous client requests, servers severely get overloaded, forming traffic congestion. Okay. But in a P2P network, like point-to-point network, adding more nodes will increase the bandwidth, since it's calculated as the sum of the bandwidths of each. Okay. What is the impact of central architecture? In the client server, we haven't any central architecture, but in the past, we have our central architecture like mainframe. It's a since it's centralized, if a critical server fails, client requests are not accomplished. Therefore, client server lacks robustness of a good P2P network. The sources are distributed among nodes. This architecture can be considered as a network model, where a machine or process is involved, either as a client or server. Servers are usually machines with high processing power, dedicated to the synchronizing the network traffic. Device as the disk drivers and memories. Clients are basically machines or workstations which are dependent for the resource data and devices. Apart from centralized distributed client server model, peer-to-peer architecture remains a major concern as it requires a distributed equal responsibility among nodes. Both these models are widely used in industry, and both include advantages and disadvantages as mentioned above. Next, move ahead. Now we will move ahead for the our implementation part of client server computing. How the client server computing implement itself. Okay, let's move ahead. Let's start what are the implementation method of the client server architecture. The client server architecture functionality divides into categories of 2-tier, 3-tier, and n-tier models, and the serviceable unit consists of the user interface, business logic, and shared data. So there are different types of categories: 2-tier, 3-tier, n-tier. And what are those clusters? User interface, business logic, and shared data. User interface, business logic, and shared data. Since the content of this report is towards a network perspective, I have elaborated on the 1-tier architecture as they are non-distributed and end-to-end application. Now let's move ahead for the 2-tier client server architecture. 2-tier software architecture were built in 1980s based on the file server software architecture behavior. Projects mainly to improve the usability through the support of form-based user-friendly interfaces. Okay. Now, user-friendly interfaces are needed because we need to connect the layman's to our computing service models from which the business grows. It also, this model also provides the increase in scalability by supporting up to 100 users through the file server model. Supports only dozen of users. And in this 2-tier model and client server model, we are able to get 100 users plus users. But in the file sharing models, we can only have a dozen users because it's all depend upon the protocols what we are working on. So in the client server architecture, we can go for the layered wise protocol, but here we can't go for the layered wise protocol for the service. Often corporate data can be shared over homogeneous environment, enhancing flexible uses. Okay. This model necessitates minimal operator's intervention, mostly used in a non-complex, non-time critical information processing. So, what are the examples of it? Examples are the like file servers, database servers with stored procedures, client server architecture. So, two-tier paradigm consists of three components dispersed in two layers. First is client. Client, what is client is? It is a supplicant of service. It is getting a service. And what are the servers? Servers are the supplier of the service. Mentioned as below, user system interface, session interface, session text and dialogue input. What are the user system interface or at the client side are the session, text, dialogue inputs, display management services. Processing management and database management is the word of the server side. So in the processing management, we go for the process development and performance, process monitoring, and process resource share services. What are the database management? Data in file services. With the architecture, user system interface is entirely allocated to the client, and the database management is placed on the servers where the processing management is functionally dispersed on both client by server, resulting in two layers. So what happens in this architecture? The database side, database work is placed as a server side, and processing functionality is divided between the client and server. So from which the management become easy, and this model is known as the two-tier model. Application logic can reside on the in this model. Application society can logic can reside on the client side within a user interface or server side within a database, independently or both sides. These applications can be simply built using visual tools, helpful in developing application for small scale group, where entitled for decision support systems in the creation of the publishing application. Now, let's move for the characteristics. What are the characteristics of the application? What really we have? So, characteristics of this applications are in this model. The client is capable of communicating directly with the server. Application with no presence of intermediate application. In this model, client is capable of communicating directly with the server with no presence of intermediate application. Usually, business logic is contributed toward the server side, and in many cases, it is on the client side as well. So, fat server with thin client scenario is when the business logic is attached to the client. Fat client with thin server scenario is when the business logic is attached to the corporate server. In general, when we use servlet, we use this concept. Okay. The procedure in which the client application interacts with the server is achieved through usage of database bridge known as the application programming interface (API). Commonly used API includes JDBC as Java database connector. Each machine consisting of a client application entitled to the usage of the database driver interact with the database. In case the database changes, it's necessary to reinstall the driver, which increases the deployment cost. A separate database connection underlines in every client of the network, which are limited and expensive. Usually, database connections retain even if no client interaction happens, enabling the database to available to the other client, thus making a limited numbers of the client to access the database at a time. When simultaneous client request occurs, or when there are incensments in the data transfer path, number of trips across a physical boundary, it causes high network traffic. In the occurrence of the database operation, the data is transferred across a physical boundary separating business logic and data tiers. When considering the application of the two-tier model, we often come across classic client by server interactions where client refers to a custom application developed in a language like Delphi or Visual Basic, where the server is a database engine like SQL Server, Postgre, Oracle, library and lab reservation systems, where the UI has a direct communication with the database server. Also, due to the fact that the majority of the web application conclude no separation of the business logic from presentation logic and application server, they are also considered as a two-tier application using PHP, ASP.NET, etc. Connect to the database via connector object like ADO, ADO.NET, and proprietor connect. Real scenarios often this seems unsuccessful in large scale implementations grow beyond the departmental land rather than a small scale or prototype level implementation. But unfortunately, it underwent a transition phase which made it possible to nurture beyond the departmental lands, in forcing to develop a 3-tier and N-tier application with the help of the mounting technology aspects. Now let me tell you, I am going very technical in this because I want to let you know through this video what really the two-tier system or 3-tier and tier system is all about. But in our university examination, we need not to go to source so what technical information. We will just have some notes of it what we will get info through in our question banks. Now we will move ahead for the 3-tier and N-tier models. How this two-tier structure is working. Now let's move on how this two-layer architecture can be covered or expanded into 3 layers, because when we are using this 2 layers, sometimes business logic was having an issue where it will be there. There is the fat client or thin client. What type of server responsibility we need to ensure, this type of client responsibility we need to ensure. This create a little bit technical gamble where to rely more. So to negotiate with this, we introduce a new layer in between, which is known as the middle layer. And the basic functionalities of this layer was to communicate between the presentation layer and the third layer, that is a data layer. Let's have an introduction of it, so we are able to understand in till time that we have our client server architecture. In client server architecture, we have a client, we have a server, we have a 2-tier models in which we develop the things according to the requirement. Okay, and then with the help of many things, we are able to add it up. How we're going to add it up, and this is we are able to add it up more functionalities, and these more functionalities create somehow a load balancing activity. Due to this, we need to introduce a 3-tier model. So in real scenario, large scale implementation grown beyond the departmental land, so that's why with this 3-tier systems come into the formulation. In the 3-tier system, we introduce a new layer known as the middle layer, and when the application tier and business logic tier was there, application layer and business logic layer was there, which is located between the data management servers and the user interface clients. Okay, so Mainly here we perform corporate business logic and its regulation through process. Now let's move ahead. So management by here here we understand when we are in a two-tier model. So we offer functionalities as queuing application and database stacking. But in the three-tier, we try to differentiate that in this thing from which this stacking doesn't and queuing is minimized as much as possible. So we use a distributed system as is, and then after that we try to increase the performance, flexibility, reusability, and scalability of the product, and by hiding the complexity of the user. So just to offer the trouble-free deployment, the over the network can be managed well due to the centralized behavior of the servers. The protocol of communication between the clients and server is as follows. The clients call for the business logic on the server. The business logic on the behalf of the client access the database. So now the two-tier step has been divided into the three-tier step. So basic functionalities of the layers are the presentation tier uses a business tier driven interface with classes and objects. Middle tier business logic basically acts as the intermediary in the communication between presentation and data tier by retrieving modifying data from the database. According to business logic and forwarding it to the presentation layer to display results to the users. Often the client request balancing is done via tools or via pure transaction processing. In the case of ADO.NET, it uses SQL client or OLEDB object to retrieve and modify data from SQL server accessed by forwarding the information to the presentation layer with the data reader or data sets. Now this is data objects and custom object collections. So this is how technically it handles the things at middle layer. At the data tier, represent a database with a data access procedure. Okay. The three-tier architecture endorses a user system where a whole set of user services are offered. Session, text, dialog, input, display management, etc. And it also substitutes several server calls for multiple SQL queries and update enhancing performance compared to tier model. Employment of the middle tier provisions, process management services as process development, and performance. What really these are the things what middle tier provisions help us to increase the process management services as the process development and performance, process monitoring and resource sharing of services which were shared by applications, and offer database management, okay, via data file and file services which can be developed without usage of the proprietary DBMS language. This was a breakthrough thing. We don't need to go for the proprietorship. Architecture is taking care of everything. So usually three-tier thin client model is represented in some web applications comprising a client application which connects to the web server as a Apache or IIS, Internet Information Service, CGI based technology through web request using a web browser. Now CGI was upgraded as the servlets as well through Java technology. Then web browser communicates with the data tier servers like MySQL, Oracle, etc. Also thick client applications use the technologies as Corva and DCOM. So this is the introduction of three-tier where the communication has been divided into three layers: presentation, middle layer, and data layer. And how these things take care. It is always an architecture dependent thing, and how it works we are able to understand it, and how it's what is the complexities behind it. So this was the small introduction of this topic introduction of the client and server computing, we go into detail of it, what really it is, and then we go for the 2 tier and 3 tier. In n tier, we aspects grown on as per the need. So, and with this introduction, we can also add the n tier structures as per the requirement of the large systems and leverage the benefit of this distributed architecture. Now we have a cloud with our as a support system as well. So I think you and I hope you understand the topic. Thanks for your patience. Take care.